The 5 W's of the magic recipe for growth for corporates, SMEs, and startups. The panel discussion, we'd like to welcome Mr. Rami Qawasmi, CEO at Mawdu' moderator for this session. Mr. Steve Hutt, Director of Account Management at M-Brain. Mrs. Zeena Majali, the co-founder at CRYSTEL. Mr. Nael Salah, Managing Director at ESKADENIA Software. Mr. Karim, Samakie, Innovation-Driven Enterprises Director at Digital Corporation Organization. Please welcome them to the stage.
Thank you very much, guys, for attending this session. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rami Qawasmi. I'm the co-founder of Mawdu' and Makani, and I'm the vice chairman of Intaj. And I have Zeena Majali here with me, founder of CRYSTEL, and Mr. Nael, founder of ESKADENIA, and Karim, he's the director at DCO, and then Steve from M-Brain. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. Allow me to start this session by asking Zeena, since ladies always first, a couple of questions. Zeena, you've built a great company. CRYSTEL today, you have more than 2,000 employees. I believe you started 17 years ago with 2-3 employees. Can you tell us what is can you explain more about CRYSTEL and the vision of CRYSTEL? Where are you guys going?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Rami. CRYSTEL was launched 17 years ago with a vision to become the first business process outsourcing provider here in Jordan. We felt that what's happening in India, in the Philippines, in Egypt, they were all pioneers in the call center industry, and call centers did not exist here in Jordan. We felt that if we start this idea, we can employ our youth with our high unemployment rates, and we can start possibly a trend and have others follow as well. And thankfully, we can say that today, CRYSTEL is not the only one that exists in the market. We have many great competitors as well, both locally and people who came from abroad, big companies, big call centers that currently operate from Jordan today. So we can say that finally we have built this ecosystem. So, and that's great to see, and that was the vision from day one.
Again, Zeena, that's great, but we're seeing a lot of companies that are growing massively and then they collapse because they're not, when it comes to the vision, there's quite a lot of things changing on a daily basis. And I believe that you guys are investing heavily on the AI. Can you please explain and elaborate more on that? Can you tell us what is the vision of CRYSTEL when it comes to the future of CRYSTEL?
Yeah, sure. So that was our vision, and thankfully that's going well. And currently there are more than 10,000 people employed in the call center industry here in Jordan. And as far as the records show, a lot of revenue is coming into Jordan today, especially through sales abroad into this sector. So that has been met. In order for us to stay alive, let's say, and in order for us to stay along with in parallel with what the future holds. CRYSTEL today is changing its mindset from a traditional call center and going more into artificial intelligence solutions. So what we're doing today, we heavily invested in our new company called Zeena AI, Zeena with an X. And what it's doing is it's building a virtual assistant in the Arabic language. So what we see, for example, with Siri and Alexa, that we feel that this is the future. So when people call the call center or they want to contact, it's not only talking to a live agent or talking using chat support, but they can finally talk to a robot, an Arabic robot that completely understands different dialects, whether it's the Jordanian dialect or the Saudi dialect or the dialect in the UAE or the Egyptian, and talking to people in that sense. We feel this is where the future is going. People no longer want to heavily pay in live agents. They want more automation, and this is where we're heading today. So hopefully we will stay alive and we won't crash, as you
We're
said.
sure you will.
Thank you.
We're quite sure. We're very proud of you and your company, Zeena. Thank you very much. I'll move actually to Karim. Karim, you guys at DCO saying that you're gonna really help the startups, you're really gonna help the ecosystem. If today I ask any entrepreneur in Jordan or even in the Arab world, they'll tell me we have three main challenges. One, access to talents. Two, access to market. And three, access to capital. And I believe you guys at the DCO are doing quite a lot to really bridge the gaps and really help the entrepreneurs and help the companies. Can you please explain more about DCO and what you guys are doing to really solve those problems?
Thank you, Rami. So just as a starter, DCO is the Digital Cooperation Organization, for those who have not heard of it. We're a newly established international organization. We're based out of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and our main goal and objective is to work on the digital prosperity for all, and on the enablement of the digital economy. So Rami pointed out 3 points that are super important and are a challenge, constant challenge for startups and SMEs across the region. And we're definitely working on several initiatives that are tailored towards resolving those challenges, or at least facilitating. As the DCO, we work on different levels. We work with governments, we work with the private sector, and we work with civil societies in general. And we work in 3 areas: in advocacy, advisory, and facilitation. So when it comes to facilitating business environments, we work with the governments, providing those governments with the advice they need and the direction they need to implement the right policies, put in the right policies to facilitate the growth and expansion of the digital economy. And obviously this trickles directly down to the startups and the SMEs. But we also work directly, we facilitate interactions directly with the startups through many of our initiatives. So you mentioned access to information, access to skills, and access to finance?
To capital, talents, I believe, and market.
So
most of the startups and most of the companies and the founders that I'm talking to, they're saying those are really the problem, and I believe DCO is here to really solve the problem. So
let me start with access to skill. Access to skills. Today in Jordan, we know for a fact that there is amazing technical skills that are available in Jordan, whereas the market might not be the most exciting one. Other lucrative markets around the region are a lot more interesting. So the skill is available here. The same can be said about a region like Pakistan, where they graduate 28,000 individuals in the IT sector on a yearly basis. So the skill is not unavailable, it's just in a different place. We are working today on facilitating the movement of SMEs and startups across our member states. We have 11 member states, and we're working on launching initiatives to facilitate the movement of and the growth expansion of these startups and SMEs across our member states, so that a company that is selling in Saudi Arabia can hire its technical individuals here in Jordan and be able to complement the strength of each market and utilize those strengths towards its growth. We're also working on access to market. Access to market is something, obviously, for any small, medium enterprise or any startup that is extremely important. And it's usually costly and timely. So we're working on these two things as a starting point. We're working on reducing the cost and speeding the time that is required for those startups to be able to expand to other markets through an initiative that we call the DCO Startup Passport. And the North Star for the DCO Startup Passport is to get to a point where we are able to harmonize policies between our member states to enable movement of those startups, but also to to allow the movement of those startups seamlessly between these countries. As a starting point, we're working on reducing cost. We're working on reducing the time associated with that. I'm going to just, last but not least, we're working on an entrepreneurs network. So we're launching the Stride network, which is a network for entrepreneurs. It will include the different stakeholders involved in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, where they can interact together, where they can learn from each other, but also create opportunities and synergies between each other. Today we represent, as the DCO, more than 600 million people in terms of total population and almost 3 trillion in total GDP. So the market is huge. Being able to create synergies between those markets, or creating an integrated digital market and facilitating the movement, is something that is very important through access to information, access to talent, facilitating the registration and legalization process. These are all things that will make it easier for our entrepreneurs across the DCO member states to be able to expand. On capital, I'm going to leave it for now. It's a little, we're still working on that, but we're going to get to that.
Even with the capital, I believe that, honestly, I've been working with the DCO personally, and I know that you guys are trying to really support the startups and the entrepreneurs of not really supporting them with the capital, but opening doors, let's say, for them. And I know the value that you guys are adding to all the countries that you're working on.
We're actually partnered with you and Makani.
That's a
and we're working on Elevate.
Yes.
We're working on an initiative with Makani, and this
Yes.
is like a beautiful partnership, because the goal of it is to digitize 50,000 small and medium enterprises that do not have a digital presence. And this partnership with Makani will go across all DCO member states in order to help those people have an online presence and give them the knowledge, not just the tools, but also the knowledge. Correct?
100%. Again, thank you for all the support for the region. Karim, I would love to move to Nael. Nael is the founder of a well-known company called ESKADENIA. ESKADENIA, mainly they build software and products for enterprises. And Nael have built this company back in 2000. Sorry, is it 2000? 2000. So we're talking about 22 years old. Again, you guys have started this real innovation out of Jordan, and now you moved to different countries. You guys have managed to hire a lot of people. Can you please explain to us what are the main challenges? Where do you see, what's the difference between since you started the company and now, the problem that you guys have solved, and explain more about ESKADENIA.
Thank you, Rami. First of all, we established ESKADENIA for many, many reasons. I think one of the most reasons, the most clear reasons, is that we saw at the time a very clear business opportunity for a company to succeed and thrive. As you mentioned, we established the company in 2000. At that time, myself and my wife used to work at Ericsson in Sweden. Myself worked at Ericsson for 17 years and my wife for 5 or 6 years. And we were in really good positions and living in a beautiful country and enjoying life there. But we saw that there is a huge opportunity in software. We saw that the effect of the expansion of the internet and cellular technology will make software a necessity for all enterprises and for people, individual people as well. So we thought that the best way forward for us is to leave Sweden and come back to Jordan and establish a company in Jordan where we can see that we can build a big company, we can personally benefit, but more importantly, in our opinion, is that we can benefit our country, we can benefit our people, and we can prove that it is better for Jordan, rather than to export people to other countries around us and even to Europe and United States, is to use the talent that we have here in Jordan and employ them in Jordan and make really good quality software. And that's what we started with, and thankfully our ambitions and our plans succeeded, and now we started with like 10 or 15 people, and now we have more than 300 people working with diversity of products, from telecommunication to insurance to enterprise and health and education and internet and security. So we are employing around 270 technical people. So like 90% of our employees are technical. They are developing software, they are testing software, they are deploying software. This, in our opinion, maybe has encouraged other companies as well to start in Jordan and to use the talent that we have to make more companies in different sectors and to export to other countries around us. First, we wanted to satisfy the local market, the regional market, and our ambition is to grow globally. And now we are in like 25 countries, but our ambition is to expand even further and go to North America, to Europe, to Asia, to Australia, and so on.
Thank you very much, Nael. Again, we're all proud of ESKADENIA and what ESKADENIA are doing. I'll move to Steve. Steve, first of all, welcome in Jordan, and we're quite proud that you've joined us and that
thanks.
We're working with you in Taj, I believe. Steve is the is the director of account manager for mBrain. It's a leading company for market intelligence solution. They're based in Europe in different countries.
Yep.
And we know that the data today is the new oil. We know data is very important, and I believe that we've talked about this in a lot of different sessions. Can you please explain more about mBrain, and can you please explain to us what do you guys do? How do you help company growing?
Sure.
And your view in the region. You're here in the region. We're seeing a lot of companies coming to the region. Can you please elaborate more on that?
Sure. So mBrain have operated in the market and competitive intelligence space for 25 years. We help our clients throughout Europe, but we also have offices in the US, through Asia, an office in Dubai. So we help our clients understand and use the data effectively to grow their business. And that comes down to understanding their markets, understanding the opportunities that can be presented through tenders, through opportunities, through expansion of different clients and buyouts, but also understanding the competition. So really, what are the competition doing? Who are the new competitors? And often the growth is about defending your existing clients and understanding the competitors that are coming into your space. And we make sure we're able to use the data globally, that's accessible globally, so that the clients don't have to find that information themselves. We mentioned the expanse of data, the amount of data that's available. Our AI ensures that our clients don't have to spend hours and hours and hours every day looking for that data. We can find it for them, we categorize it, and we make sure that data about opportunities and about threats can get to the right people at the right time so they can make strategic decisions that's based on real facts. Some clients ask, why can't I use a search engine to do that? And we all know that search engines make money through advertising, through sponsorship, and we provide a non-biased understanding and account of the market and the competitors without that bias that a search engine might have.
Great, thank you very much, Steve. I'll move back to Zeena. Zeena, starting a company is not easy. What do you think? What made you start CRYSTEL? And what's your advice to anyone who have a company today? I'm sure there's quite a lot of people in here who would want to learn from your experience of he have this idea and he wants to start something. You started with 10 employees. Today you're hiring more than 2,000 people. What's your advice and what made you take such a decision?
I think what we utilized here the most, I think, is our youth. I think we have a lot of talent here that needs to be better utilized. We need to believe in Jordanian youth. A lot of graduates with different backgrounds that can help support, I think, any startup, no matter what they do. This is what happened with us in CRYSTEL in our different divisions and in our main call center. The talents that we found, the different languages that we were able to serve from here is something that we definitely benefited a lot from, and that's why this company grew. And now looking at Zeena AI as well, and the talent that we're finding, the talent that we're utilizing here is also something that's really good to consider. This is a huge benefit here in Jordan, and we're definitely tapping on that. And I would definitely say that we need to ensure that we are training our youth heavily, whether it's from their early childhood years in schools, whether it's in universities or in the workplace. We need to equip them more. So I think that would be my...
Is it easy to find talents today? Or do you have to keep on training the...
Yeah, we find a lot of talent and we find a lot of smart people, I would say, a lot of educated people, but maybe not exactly where we want them to be in terms of the skills sets that they have. And that's what we're working on both at CRYSTEL and at Zeena, is to try to get them to where the world wants them to be so that we can compete globally. But we are investing in that. The government is heavily investing in that. A lot of NGOs operating here from Jordan today, the World Bank and many others today are investing in this direction. And I think that's what we all need to know, that we have what it takes, and we should also help the ecosystem by training our youth to be able to compete globally. And I think we can do a lot, therefore.
I'm sure you will. Thank you. Nael, again, starting a company, I'll move back to that since I see a lot of young people in here. You started your company at a much harder time, I would say, back in 2000. What really made you take such a decision? You know what, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to open my own company and take such a risk. Should have just laid down, chilled, and enjoyed your time, taking your salary and not really taking such a high risk. I know after 22 years now you're in different countries and you're working, mashallah, and you have a very successful company, but we really want to learn from you. So can you please tell me what made you take such a decision?
Well, to be honest, I like challenges. And I think that most people, especially young people, they like challenges, and they like to try something and see if it works or if it doesn't work. I have worked for more than 40 years in only 3 companies. I worked at Salah for a few years in Abu Dhabi, and then I worked at Ericsson, and now ESKADENIA. And in each job, you have challenges. You want to grow, you want to prove to yourself and to your family and to your friends and to the surroundings, that you can improve and you can grow. To be honest, although Ericsson is one of the best companies in the world, especially in Sweden, Ericsson at one point stood for 15% of the exports of Sweden. And it had like 120,000 employees and all of that. But even inside Ericsson, people want to challenge themselves. In all companies, you want you want to grow, you want to prove to yourself that you can do more. And the biggest challenge in my life, to be honest, and not only for me, but also for the family and for my wife, is to leave such a really nice environment and to move. I mean, we love Jordan, of course. We all love Jordan. Life in Jordan is really, really beautiful. But the risk, every person who starts a company takes huge risk. We accepted the risk, and we thought that maybe this will not work, but we will make every effort to make it work. And we, to be honest, tried many things. You talked about capital. We have not had any injection from outside of ourselves. We still own the company to 100%. We have grown organically. So this is an additional risk on us.
100%.
Especially with to be honest, companies or our customers, not only in Jordan, but outside of Jordan, they like to keep the money. They don't like to pay quickly. So you have issues with the cash flow, and the bigger you grow, the bigger the risks are, to be honest.
The more problem that you face, for sure.
So I think it is really the challenge that made us leave and come here, and the feeling that we would really like to create something and to do something.
100%. Again, if there is a will, there is a way, and
exactly.
You guys have made something that I believe a lot of the startups have learned from your experience and from your journey. Karim, again, every time I go to your office and I meet with the Secretary General Dima Yahya, Her Excellency, and I see the team, you guys in a mission to really change the world and make it a better place for the startups and for the companies in the region. And honestly, the amount of energy that we see is a huge, and I know that you guys are working day and night to really do something. Today we're seeing a lot of countries are joining DCO. What really makes those countries want to join DCO? Why are they joining DCO? So if today's Jordan is a member of a DCO, what is Jordan benefiting out of DCO?
So that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And yes, we are growing for an international organization that started only 2 years ago. We already have 11 member states from the government, and obviously a lot from the private sector. And we come with a value proposition that we can all relate to. I think this is what makes our mission a lot easier. I believe also the pandemic helped fuel our growth. We realized the need for digital. We cannot think about any sort of business without thinking about the digital aspect of things. For governments, like you said, like we were saying earlier, each of the countries that we have has a specific skill or a specific value add that it can bring in and it can add. When combining the power of multiple countries under one umbrella and going and advocating for those countries or working and collaborating with those countries together, it allows for faster growth for the individual countries and their economies. Today we continuously talk about digital economy and our focus on the digital economy. But we all know and believe that this term of digital economy is soon going to be changing to become the economy, because everything is going to involve digital. Our value proposition, digital prosperity for all, is something that touches every government and the private sector as well. And I believe this is why we are able to grow. We're still coming up with the right initiatives to have the biggest impact on, the positive impact on the different governments and the different countries.
How can you help the entrepreneurs who's in this hall?
So I want to tell the entrepreneurs, first of all, that growth or growing out of your original country of establishment is a lot easier today than it was several
100%.
years ago. And we're talking 5 years ago. Today, there are several organizations, including the DCO, which are purely focused on creating opportunities for startups, for SMEs. I believe governments all over the world have seen the impact that startups and SMEs, as they grow, can have on the economy and their contribution to GDP. And everyone is working towards that. So there are a lot of tools that are facilitating that. At DCO, we believe that providing the entrepreneurs with the information, the knowledge, the know-how, and the connections will enable them to make advantage of the opportunity.
100%.
So facilitating that, giving them the knowledge and facilitating the engagements between each other in different countries will allow them to be able to grow a lot easier. So I encourage entrepreneurs to start thinking about growth. And I know that a lot of the incubators and accelerators are not going to be happy with this, but I encourage them to start thinking about growing out of their existing market and exploring other markets as soon as they can, to be able to really see the size of the potential of the markets outside and how they can impact their markets. But to be able to do that, they need to have the information with regards to the strategic objectives of the country. So does it fit their profile? Does it fit their company? Does it fit the problem that they're solving before doing that? So that's where we come in. We facilitate that process. We tell them what is needed to register, how to register, and we even connect them with the right individuals in the different ecosystems to do so.
Clear. Thank you very much, Karim, for that. Steve, I'll move back to you. So, what's the strategy of mBrain in the future? And again, your presence, guys, in the Middle East. There's quite a lot of things that are happening on this part of the world.
Yeah, Karim just mentioned about moving into new territories and expansion. And mBrain wants to be seen as not just a supplier of data and a platform that structures that data, but really a partner to our clients to allow them to grow, but also to grow into new markets. So we have an advisory team that allows, especially smaller companies and startups that are resource poor, to use our capabilities and our resource to understand markets, to understand what they can grow into, to size markets and understand what those addressable markets might be. And that's the support where we see ourselves going, and is the provision of a real partnership between just data, but also advice as to how they can grow.
Thank you very, very much, Steve. And we have to end the session now. They're just trying to tell me that I have to end the session now. I would like to thank you all for attending this session, and I would like to thank our chairman, Mr. Amjad, and our CEO, Mr. Nidal, and Lina, and all of Intaj team for arranging this conference. And of course, thank you very much, guys, for attending this session. And we'll hopefully see you next year, I hope. Thank you.